Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Quilt Supplies. So I hope you guys are well today. So in this video I'm still working on my Daybreak quilt by Bonnie Hunter. I'm piecing the block together and I'm also giving you a look at how much I've put together so far and how I'm keeping track of which blocks I've done and which blocks I still need to do. So I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. Thank you, and now let's get on with the video. So as you know by now, this quilt does come from the String Frenzy book by Bonnie Hunter. And here is a quick layout of the block of the quilt, and as you would be aware, or if you knew, I have substituted the aqua for a black homespun. That's the only substitution I've made in the whole quilt. Is I'm not using aqua for my background, I'm using a black homespun for my background. So here I'm just starting to sew the black triangles and quarter square triangles to my blocks. So that's basically how you put the block together, is you're sewing the black half square triangles and the black quarter square triangles to the sides of the block to make it on point and to get the effect that Bonnie has gone for in this quilt. So as you can see, I do use a leader because I don't chain piece here, because my half square triangles and my quarter square triangles are actually oversized. So I don't chain piece when they are oversized. I do just use a leader and ender for a lot of it, or if oversized like you see now, I just start and stop at the beginning of the block. But where I started here, as you can see the leader, it was right at the edge of the block, so I needed to use a leader so it didn't get sucked into the machine. I find it harder and more difficult and more annoying, I suppose, if I use a leader when I've got something oversized. It's just easier to start at the beginning and just sew on down. So I'm just going through and just sewing the seam. So I am sewing with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and stitch length is about 1.5 millimeters. I always sew with a 1.5 millimeter stitch length because that then gives me the option to either press the seam open or press the seam to one side. I do 95% of the time press my seam open. On the very few occasions I will press my seam to one side. It's not often I do that, but I will on the occasion do it. As you can also see here, I don't pin. I just stop, line up the seam to the best of my ability and keep on sewing. It's also very rare that you'll see me pin. Sometimes if the matching is a little bit difficult, I will pin, but it's very rare that you'll see me pin anything in a quilt, because I just find it's a little bit more time consuming than what it needs to be. That's why you'll see me stopping every now and again, because I'm lining up a seam that needs to be lined up and trying to get it to match to the best of my ability, basically. I still do find that a little bit quicker than sitting there and pinning and matching and pinning and doing all that sort of stuff. It's just personal preference. And you still won't ever see me chain piece these blocks. It's very rare you'll see me chain piece these blocks. No matter where I am in the stage, I do normally just do these blocks one at a time. There are certain times where I don't chain piece that I do sew blocks one at a time. I find it easier that I'm not getting lost with what I'm sewing and where I'm up to with my sewing, basically. So you can see how fast this block does come together and how fast that it does come together without pinning. I suppose if you pin, you'll get probably a better lineup of the seams, but at the end of the day that does not worry me either. They do normally line up, or they are also pretty close, because if you cut accurately and sew accurately, things should line up pretty close, you shouldn't have any problems whether you're pinning or not pinning at all. So as you might be able to see, I have pressed the half square triangles to one side. I didn't open those seams. So here I'm just doing the final press. So I do open these seams that I'm pressing now because they have got a lot of bulk. So if it's a lot of bulk, I do like to press them open because I think the block sits a lot flatter than if I pressed it to one side. So here I'm just using my finger and I just press it all open, and then I will turn it to the front as you're about ready to see, and I will give it another press. So here I've turned it to the front and I'm giving it another iron, and here I do actually iron, and I mean iron the block flat. I don't just sit there and press it, I give it a good old iron because this block is oversized, so I'm trimming it down anyway, so I don't care if the triangles stretch or anything because I am actually going to trim it down anyway. So here's a quick overview of what the block looks like now it's sewn, and as you can see it needs a great big trim. That is why I don't mind ironing the block because it will need a trim. So here I'm just lining up my ruler and trimming the block down to size. I'm not giving out any measurements because, as you know, it is in the book and I can't give out the measurements. But my block is actually bigger than what the book states because I wanted to do it a little bit bigger. So I just line it all up and just make sure my 1/4 inch mark are on the points on the outside edge, and just trim up all 4 sides. That's all I do, and get it to the size that I need. So I don't cut off any of my points. Sometimes it's right at the 1/4 inch mark, sometimes it's a little bit bigger, it just depends on how it's been sewn together basically. But my points don't ever get chopped off. And it's pretty quick just to trim them all up, it's just an eyeball thing for me. So here is how I keep track of what I've done so far. The black permanent marker are the blocks I've done and the other ones I haven't done. So as you can see, I do just print off a black and white diagram of the quilt and just mark it as I go. So here is the first 2 rows of the quilt so far. The neutral strings I did about a year ago, so you won't ever see me sewing them in this quilt top. But the rest of it you'll see me sew as the quilt top progresses. It is a very stunning quilt and I really like the way that this quilt is looking, and it's going to come together and be such a beautiful stunning quilt in person. It's going to be a very large quilt as you saw at the beginning. It is a good size quilt, but I love how it's coming together, and I think her quilts are always really stunning even though she sews with such small pieces. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please remember, if you did, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. That would mean a lot to me if you could do that. And until my next video, God bless and have a fantastic day. See you later.